Hey everyone, Steve Pakradooni here, your LD4 state senate candidate, here with this week's Sunday with Steve. We're going to talk infrastructure this week. So Governor Murphy was in Washington, D.C., taking some photo ops with President Biden, Senator Schumer, Senator Menendez, Senator Booker. He was talking about infrastructure. So if you go in his Facebook post, first thing he says is, I was happy to be part in Washington, the roundtable discussion with the president and a few other elected officials. And his first words, he says, infrastructure to us is railroads, childcare. Childcare? Infrastructure? Interesting. Clean energy and a few other things. You know, the normal climate change agenda nonsense. So I'm going to put a little thoughts in your head. So first and foremost, gasoline engines have been around 125 years, maybe longer than that now. No, actually more than that, probably about 135 years. So yes, they were very dirty before, especially if you remember in the 70s. Me as a kid growing up in the 70s, I remember seeing that the haze over LA and the smog in the city was bad, even in Philadelphia. And we've cleaned that up. We've come a long way. Right now we have zero emissions cars, gasoline burning cars, zero emissions. Nothing comes out the tailpipe. So to me, infrastructure would also be, there's nothing wrong with an electric car. I'm all for that. I'm all for wind power and solar power. Let's use every possible energy source available to us. But let's let technology lead the way, not government. Technology has gotten us now to zero emission cars. So if gasoline is cheap, plentiful, easy to extract out of the ground, way better than the minerals and metals needed to make a battery for these electric cars, shouldn't we stick with that also? Makes sense to me. And then also, we will lose all the revenue, the tax revenue on gasoline, if we eliminate gasoline in New Jersey. What's that going to do is raise the price of gasoline, of course, and then also what's going to happen is it's going to drive our electric costs up, because there's going to be a larger demand for electric. They're going to have to, increase the grids and the systems for all these electric cars that they want to produce. And like I'll say, there's nothing wrong with an electric car, but there's a time and a place for it, and let's let technology lead the way and not government. I have to address the child care part of infrastructure. I just have no idea what the governor says that child care, because Bernie Sanders said child care is part of infrastructure in this country. It's not part of infrastructure. Child care should be performed by the parents, of course. We're the responsible ones for our children, not the government. So I have no idea what he's saying about that, but I don't think it's fair for taxpayers to have to pay for someone else's child care. It just doesn't make sense to me. Now I'm going to say child care. I understand that people have to choose sometimes between working and being able to afford childcare. But there are decisions that individuals have to make. I don't think government should be a big part of that. So let's talk a little bit about infrastructure in New Jersey. I'm going to talk about 295 in Florida and 295 in New Jersey. So I've been driving to Florida at least once or twice a year for the last 7 years straight. In Florida, they happen to have a route, 295, that kind of shoots off just before you get to Jacksonville to take you around Jacksonville. They started that project about 5 years ago. I've taken it from the beginning to the end now. So before it would only they put a few miles of it in, and then you get back on 95 a lot sooner. But now it's completely complete. I think it's 22 miles long, takes you right around Jacksonville. You avoid all that traffic going down 95. That right now is an 8-lane highway in sections of it, 4 lanes across each way. They've built extensive bridges over massive waterways. They did it in 5 years. It's done. It's complete. Not to mention some other projects in Florida, even closer to Orlando, that I've noticed that's where we usually go, that they've completed in years. Not decades, like it's taking 295 and 42 interchange to complete. They started that project over 11 or 12 years ago. It's not even close to being done. And more importantly, the safety issues that's happening there. There are tons of fatal accidents in that area because it's very hard to navigate, especially if you're not familiar with that area. So what could be the difference? It has to be New Jersey Department of Transportation compared to the Florida's Department of Transportation. So it goes back to government. Government isn't always the answer, and clearly the Department of Transportation in New Jersey is failing. No way. Not to mention they had a highway collapse. Thank God that the highway wasn't even open. It's not even complete, and it collapsed. Just imagine if there was traffic on that, the fatalities. It'd just be horrible, horrible, horrible. Something has to be done. Someone has to be held accountable for it, and we have to revamp Trenton completely. There should be no way that any project takes decades and decades to do. It's a possibility. The other problem that I have is Murphy saying, he has all these people around him in Washington, D.C. they've been there for decades also, 30, 40, almost 50 years with the president right now. Why weren't these issues addressed earlier? Why weren't they completed years and years and years ago? This stuff just didn't start going bad yesterday. Our bridges, rail systems, airports, they're horrible. But they didn't get horrible overnight. It's been years. We don't invest enough into our infrastructure program, and now they want to spend $3 trillion that we don't have. And then include social programs like childcare in infrastructure. Makes no sense to me. So this has to be changed, and someone in Trenton, our elected officials, state senators and assembly members must push back against Murphy and say, listen, this is insanity. We can't borrow money to fix our roads and bridges and then include social programs in that. It just doesn't work that way. The gas taxes, we were told that when they increased the gas tax, that was going to go to pay for roads and bridges, not light rail projects, not these, clean energy projects that have proven to fail over and over and over again. Let technology take control. Let private sector companies improve the technology, and then keep government out of them. Let them do that. And when the technology is correct, then the governments, state and federal governments, should purchase that technology to make things better for us citizens. It's really that simple. But now they want to shut down fossil fuel and immediately go to everything electric or solar powered, and we just don't have the capacity for that. One more thing about fossil fuel driven cars. I am in the auto repair business, so I know a lot about this. Right now we have vehicles, gasoline powered vehicles. When gasoline is abundant, it's cheap. We have the infrastructure set up. There's private companies that have the infrastructure set up to get gasoline to us very simple, inexpensive, and it's available everywhere on every single corner. Why would we give that up and then go to all these electric-based cars? Oh, I got off topic there. We have zero-emission cars right now. So right now, you can purchase a car that has zero emissions. You fill it with gasoline, nothing bad comes out of the tailpipe. And how I know this is years ago, when I first got in this business, many years ago, you could never have a car running in the shop with the door down. You would drive in and you would smell those fumes. It would be horrible. Just don't have that today. Lots of times too, I'll notice, hey, is that car running? You don't even know it's running in the shop with the door down. There's nothing coming out of the tailpipe that's toxic or bad for the environment. So let's let technology even improve on that. And we should use gasoline. We should use solar. We should use wind. We should use any available energy source to us to keep energy costs low for us citizens in the state and the country. Just makes sense. It's just common sense to me. So that's my tale about infrastructure. I always say I like to talk a little bit about the campaign. The campaign's coming along nicely. Still going to ask for meet and greets. I would love to talk to anyone that'll listen to me, especially in LD4. I need their votes. That's the only way we're going to make a change. And in New Jersey, we do have elections every single year, and in the odd years, that's the years that we pick our representatives going to Trenton. So this is a unique year where every seat is available in Trenton, from the governor, every state senator, and every assembly member. So you have the power to change every single person in Trenton this year. You do. The voter does. That's your tool. That's your weapon, shall we say. You can make the change. So If you're happy with what's going on in New Jersey, if you think the highest taxes in the country are fine, the outrageous gas prices that we're paying now, child care being part of infrastructure, social programs being put before tax-paying residents, then don't make a change. Vote for the incumbents. Or, if you want to make New Jersey more affordable and give us a chance, let's get some really great representation in there. Let's vote for Jack Ciattarelli for governor. He's an MBA CPA. He knows how to fix things. He knows how to make things more affordable, run more efficient. And let's change our representatives, including myself. I'm a small business owner in New Jersey. I'm not a politician. The current incumbents have been there for a very, very long time. Almost 2 decades, actually. They push a political agenda. They go lockstep with what's happening with Governor Murphy. I don't want to do that. I want to go what's best for the residents of LD4 and realistically the entire state. It's time for a change. It's time to get common sense representation in Trenton, especially out of LD4. So please remember, on November 2nd, your tool or your weapon is to vote the incumbents out. All right. Try to keep it simple this week. I didn't. Of course, I went over in time as I normally do. I'm sorry, but the information I want to get out there to everyone is kind of important. I know it's important to me, and hopefully it's important to you. So please remember, I will meet anyone. I'll talk to anyone in my district. So please let me know if I can help. Again, I'm going to give you out my personal cell phone number. Shoot me a text. Say, hey, Steve, I want to talk to you. I want to find out what you stand for and what you can do for me in Trenton. Not what I can do for you, it's what you can do for yourself. Cell phone number is 856-905-4457. Shoot me a text. We can have a small conversation together. Love to meet you in person. All right, everyone, have a great week. I'll be back at you on Sunday and tell you what happened during next week. Have a good one. Thank you.